Thanks again for joining me. Let me start by saying that we share the grief over the pointless murders by ICE agents of John Sebastian Duran Guerrero and Lorenzo Salgado Araujo. They were both loving parents, they were husbands, they were people who worked, built lives, and contributed to their families. Their families are grieving tonight, and that grief deserves to be met with truth and accountability, not spin. Duran Guerrero was 26, father from Colombia, authorized to work in the United States. He was killed in Biddeford, Maine by ICE agents. His partner watched agents shoot him in front of their home, their 3-year-old daughter beside her. Salgado Araujo was a self-made businessman from Mexico who worked in construction, raised 3 children, and had spent years working toward legal status. Neither man was the so-called target of ICE agents, who operate under an administration that claims to be going after the worst of the worst, but whose actions continue to show targeting of hardworking community members instead. We see a very clear pattern with this administration. We're still mourning the lives of Renee Good and Alex Preddy, both American citizens who were killed by federal agents earlier this year for voicing their frustration with what they were witnessing. In case after case, no agent faces any real consequences. At least 10 people have been killed during federal immigration operations since the administration's deportation began. Nearly 50 people have died in ICE custody, and stories of torture and abuse are coming out of these centers, and of course, none of them are being investigated. These are not coincidences. They're the predictable result of an agency operating almost with no outside accountability. Neither ICE agent in Maine nor Texas was wearing a body camera. That's a choice this administration has made, and it's inexcusable. Gil Kurlikowski, the former U.S. Border Patrol commissioner, told NPR that ICE's street tactics are so far out of standard law enforcement practice that it, quote, shocks the conscience, describing the agents boxing in vehicles and standing in front of them, using tactics reserved elsewhere for felony stops, not routine civil enforcement. ICE agents are clearly not trained or equipped for the encounters they're creating on our streets. A person's immigration status, whether they hold a visa, a work permit, or nothing at all, does not give the federal government an open license to take their life. That should not need to be said. After these 2 most recent killings, Homeland Security briefly paused most ICE traffic stops. It lasted about a day. Then the president himself countermanded it, calling traffic stops one of ICE's most important and effective tools. The tactic that killed 2 men is already back, and not because an investigation cleared it, but because the president said so online. Montgomery County joins the many advocates demanding accountability. Everyone responsible, the agents who fired, the agency that sent them untrained and uncovered, and the administration now pushing to resume the practice that killed them, has to be held accountable. We need an independent investigation of both these shootings, conducted by agencies with no chain of command to ICE. Accountability that stops at a press release is not accountability. To our immigrant residents, know that we have tools and services to help you navigate these difficult and troubling times. The Gilchrist Immigrant Resource Center can connect you to services, including your Know Your Rights presentations and legal screenings. Our ICE reporting portal is also active. It exists because ICE needs to know the American people are watching, documenting, and building a record, one that will be used to hold accountable anyone who tramples the Constitution, guts due process, and takes lives while doing it. To the families of Juan, Sebastian, and Lorenzo, to everyone grieving alongside them, we see you and we grieve with you, and we will not stop demanding the justice that you deserve. I know that a lot of you have opened your assessment notice recently and felt your stomach drop. You can see the reaction across social media, even in emails my office gets. I pay property taxes too. Nobody likes seeing that number go up. But here's what's actually happening just so you understand how this works. Maryland reassesses homes every 3 years. When the market goes up, the value of your house goes up. That assessed value comes from a combination of your state, county, and city tax rates, if applicable. In Montgomery County, that's a fraction over $1.04 per $100 of assessed value, plus the state's tax rate of just over 11 cents per every $100. Multiply it out, and that's your tax bill. Unlike some states, Maryland doesn't cap the total tax rates. We set ours based on what it actually costs to run our schools, keep our streets safe, and provide the services this county depends on. That's a real trade-off, and I don't take it lightly, which is why I argued so adamantly this spring for the council to adopt my proposal. Yes, your property taxes would have been slightly elevated, but for many of you, it would have been offset by an important tax credit that was eliminated by adopting the county council's budget. The council's chosen revenue approach shifts a greater burden of our budget onto homeowners and leaves commercial property tax rates untouched. Many of you are seeing that plan in action. By eliminating the $692 income tax offset credit, which is a property tax credit that more than 201,000 households in our county use, the council essentially raised your property tax by a flat $692. Whether you're living in a $300,000 condo in Leisure World or whether you're living in a $5 million home in Potomac, the impact is the same, except for the impact on your budget. Under the council plan, 88% of homeowners will pay more than under my proposal. The path we're going down will eventually lead to permanent service cuts. It has to. There is no other way for this to evolve. The combination of tax actions the council took created a hole in the next budget, a reduction of anticipated tax revenues of over $100 million. Given that there appears to be no let-up in the damage inflicted on the local economy by Trump, we do not anticipate an increase in revenues sufficient to fill that gap and address the effects of inflation. When recurring revenues disappear, you're left with only one choice, and that's to reduce services. To balance this year's budget, the council cut 20% from my recommended increase for MCPS. That is going to hurt the schools. In particular, it's going to hurt the students. And this approach to the budget will ultimately hurt the people who lean on us most for social services. Given our fiscal situation, a property tax increase was the only way to maintain services, adequately fund bonds for construction of schools and infrastructure, address growing needs at a time when the feds and the state shift more costs to the county. Schools got cut, economic development funds got cut, ironic because that was meant to grow the tax base, as were some social services. Fortunately, this did not have to be our only choices. Just for perspective, I want to point out the residential tax rates in Frederick, Howard, and Prince George's County and Fairfax counties are all higher than ours, which is $1.04. DC is the only one that's lower, and its tax rate is 85 cents. But DC's tax rate is lower for residential rates because their commercial tax rate ranges from $1.66 for property assessed at less than $5 million to $1.89 for property worth over $10 million. And in Fairfax County, special taxing districts like Tyson's Corner and Reston have tax rates that approach $1.50. On top of that, Fairfax gets a business licensing tax that brings in $200 million a year to the county. And we have no licensing tax on commercial property here or anything like it. I've been pushing the council to support state legislation to create differential tax rates for commercial and residential property like Virginia and DC have. And the council has refused to support that legislation year after year, not even taking it up for discussion. That decision means that commercial and residential properties pay the same rate in Montgomery County. That's not fair. And when we raise residential rates, 3/4 of what a penny gets us actually comes from residential property. Only 1/4 cent comes from commercial property. I say this because we could have restored ways to create a fair system, adopted a path that DC and Fairfax have gone on, and put less burden on our homeowners. As a council member, I'm going to push again to create a fair tax system that is more aligned with what our economic competitors do. County council policies of reducing taxes on the private sector have been a race to the bottom, and instead of bringing us jobs because we're the cheap date, it's left us without both jobs and revenues. Absent a major rethink of how we raise revenues, this next budget is going to see the problems in the last budget magnified. Homeowners are feeling that pinch, and it hurts. I want to share some information that could at least help ease the burden. The phase-in spreads any tax assessment increase evenly over 3 years, so you're not hit all at once. The homestead tax credit caps how much your taxable assessment can rise each other, and in Montgomery County that is limited to 10%, though it's worth checking if your specific rate is lower. And just know this, the credit resets when your home sells, which is part of why new buyers often see a bigger jump. It's worth a lot more than it was under the previous owner, and that higher price is reflected in your higher taxes when you buy a home. The homeowner's property tax credit offers real relief based on your income versus your tax bill. But if you have to apply every year, and you have to do it by September 1st. And if you think your assessment doesn't match your home's actual value, you have a right to appeal within 45 days notice of your assessment, which is printed on the form sent by the Maryland Department of Assessments and Taxation. You can also request a property worksheet from the assessment office to see exactly how they got their number. None of this makes the number on the bill any easier to look at, but I want you to have a full picture and the tools to push back if you feel something looks off. We had a few days of typical July weather before the heat returned. We're expecting the heat index values, what it actually feels like when you factor in humidity, to reach up to 106 degrees over this stretch of hot weather, which could extend into the weekend or beyond. That's not just uncomfortable. That can be life-threatening, and it can happen fast. Here's what I'm asking everyone to do. Stay inside as much as you can during the hottest parts of the day. If you don't have air conditioning at home, find somewhere or someone that does, like your nearest library, community rec center, or shopping mall. A fan helps, but when it's this hot, it's not enough to actually protect you fully. Take a cool shower, head somewhere nearby with air conditioning. Drink water, not alcohol or soda, water. By the time you're thirsty, you're already behind. Check on your neighbors, check on older adults and anyone you know who might not have a reliable air conditioning. A phone call or a knock on the door can genuinely save someone's life during a heat wave like this. And never leave a child or a pet in a parked car, not for a minute. Temperatures inside a vehicle can hit 130 degrees in minutes. If someone shows signs of heat stroke, confusion, hot red skin, a body temperature over 103, loss of consciousness, that's a medical emergency. Call 911 immediately. For outdoor workers in construction or landscaping, you have a right to water, shade, and rest under Maryland law. When the heat index hits 100 degrees, employers are required to give you at least 15 minutes of rest every hour. Know your rights and exercise them. Sign up for Alert Montgomery to get emergency updates sent directly to your phone, and follow the county on social media for the latest information. You can also visit our Montgomery County Be Cool website. Don't let your guard down and take this hate seriously. It's important. By Sunday, I hope the heat is out of here so more people can enjoy a special event hosted by our Department of Recreation. The Cup Fans Unite Final Watch Party will take place on Sunday, July 19th in Wheaton from 1 to 2:30 p.m. Our youngest soccer fans will be able to test their soccer skills with drills and soccer-themed activities in the parking lot behind 2425 Reedy Drive. We've laid grass down to help everyone enjoy the game. Be comfortable. Bring your own chairs and blankets to enjoy the final match on 2 giant screens. The area will be open until the final whistle blows. Attendance is free, and food and drinks will be available for purchase. Watching in community is an unmistakable energy, and so bring the family and join us as we celebrate our county's passion for soccer or football, if you prefer. mocorec.com is the place to go for more details. July is National Minority Mental Health Awareness Month, making it a good time to highlight a program developed in Montgomery County to help teens help other teens dealing with mental health issues. The BTheOne Ambassador Program is a collaborative initiative in Montgomery County dedicated to preventing suicide and substance misuse among teenagers, as well as help with mental health concerns. The program operates on the belief that youth-led efforts are uniquely powerful because students are deeply connected to their peers and understand the modern challenges they face. The program operates in Montgomery County public high schools, and the goal of it is to empower students to take action through 2 distinct levels of involvement. Level 1, social media advocacy. Ambassadors use their digital platforms to share animated posters and educational content designed to reduce stigma and connect peers to vital resources. Level 2, community leadership. Students lead more intensive activities such as organizing group mindfulness sessions, creating self-soothing sessions, hosting educational movie screenings, or bringing in professional speakers to raise awareness within their schools. To support those facing emotional challenges, the program promotes 5 practical steps to help someone who may be facing a mental health crisis. Ask, keep them safe, be there, assist in making connections, and follow up. By providing students with educational materials and expert guidance, BTheOne aims to create a student-driven movement that fosters hope and healing across the community. You can check out the website at BTheOne.org. There's no reason that someone dealing with anxiety or grief should feel shame in reaching out for help. We also don't want cost to be a barrier in getting help. During this month, the focus is on unique challenges that racial and ethnic minorities in the United States face when it comes to mental illness. We want everyone to have this access to the same options in order to help eliminate disparities that we see in the Black, Latino, and Asian American communities, and other communities as well. Please remember that there is always help available through 988, whether by phone, text, or chat. Locally, our crisis center is available without an appointment and can be reached by calling 240-777-4000. That's a wrap for today. Hope you guys have a great week, and I'll be back again next week. Take care.